Hi everyone, happy to be back today for a new video, and for those of you that have followed my previous one, we looked at how do we edit 200 pictures in just one click. Here it would be exactly the same, but how do we export those 200 images for you, for your archive, for the web, for your client, and how do we do it quickly so that you do not spend so much time on that, and how do you keep it organized. So without further ado, let's jump into this export module, which is on the bottom right on Lighttable. So this is something that has different options, and as always in Darktable, you have a lot of options. You can control a lot of things, and I will walk you through the different steps. So first of all, you will see here how do you control one thing, that is how do you name your images and where do you store them. So the target storage here is something that you can adapt yourself. You can use tags for that. You can use parameters that you can use and reuse from your EXIF file. So I will link a quick PDF, like a cheat sheet on that, so that you can see the different parameters that you can use. But globally here, by default, it's coming with the file folder, and then I added my own way of naming the different files. So here, file folder, basically it will store where your file is already stored, and then here I would add two subfolders, the export subfolder, the type of export. So here I added web because I was intended to export it for the web, my file name, and I append on my file name some other naming that is just the web part. This is something that we can adjust, and we will see it, for example, if you want to modify it for your archive and maintain different parameters. I will just walk you through it a little bit later on. Then we have the format option. I think here it's fairly simple. The format option, you can choose between JPEG, PNG, TIFF. You can choose your quality, your compression. So it's very much how much of compression you want, which type of file you want. I think it's quite self-explanatory. Then you have the global options, and here for me that may be a little bit the tricky part, where you need to think about it before doing anything. So the global option will allow you, one thing that I was referring to before is the resizing part. So that's where you can resize your images depending on the intent of the picture. So let's say you want it for the web, you may not want it full res because it may be overdone. So here I'm limiting my size to 1920 pixels here, and then I leave it open on the other size. But I can also just leave it at 0 and it will export with the original size, or I can also scale it here by the size just of the file, and I will show it to you just after. The allow upscaling for me must be the most tricky part, and I will come back to it, I think, at least 2 times. Please leave it to no. The main issue here is if you allow upscaling and let's say you put the maximum width that is bigger than one of your images, it will resize and resample by itself. The Darktable will do it by itself, and the quality may be not as you expect. So for me, I would keep it no, so that it's not upscaling, and you will see that you need to understand what is the initial size of your image before doing this export, but I think it would be safer for everyone if you keep it on the no option. Then the second part is also the profile part. So here again, you need to select which type of profile export you want to use. For those of you that follow my Instagram export video, I was explaining the different profile. If you feel like we need to do another video on that, please just leave a comment on the video, and I will secure that one of the next video will cover those profile type. With that said, this is really for me the most important part for the export panel. The export panel is really where you set your different, I would say, parameters to secure that you export it correctly. With that said, here I was speaking about exporting all in once. So of course, if you want to export the all images, you just select one of the images, you select all of them, and then you see here that I have 34 out of 34. If I start export, it will export everything at once, so you do not have to go one by one. This is, I think, quite classical. What we are missing here, and what you will most probably wonder, is how do we apply watermarking. So let's say here for the web, I'm happy with that. So I have my 34 images out. I will put them somewhere in the web. I don't necessarily want to put watermark here. So I can just start export, and you see it's exporting all these 34 images. Depending on the power of your computer, it may take more or less time. If you have 200 images, of course, it may take a little bit more time than expected. But here you see the timing is fairly quick, and you can always go out and grab a coffee in the meantime. With that said, here we have no watermarking, and there is no option for the watermarking here. For those of you that already know Darktable, you know that you can apply watermarking directly into Darkroom. So if I go on Darkroom here, there is an option, there is a module that is called Watermarking, which is kind of fairly self-explanatory. If I activate it here, I can apply a watermark, and here you see on the bottom left a logo that I apply. I can apply also a text. If you want guys to have a video on watermarking, please let me know. I know it can be at the same time very simple or very complex, depending how far you want to go with this watermarking. I think it's a good video that can be done, so let me know if you would like to see it, and I would be more than happy to deep dive into this watermarking module. With that said here, so you see this is actually not my final logo, but I was trying to do a new logo for the YouTube channel. So here I put my logo here. I can choose where I want to put it. I can also put it on the right. I can put it here on the top right. It's really up to you, and as always with the Darktable, there is a lot of different possibilities for you guys. With that said, one of the main issues is if you have 200 images, you do not want to go through the 200 different images and just apply the watermark module each time, and then you need to go back on them. If you want to export for your archive, for example, you will need to go back one by one and deactivate the watermark module. This doesn't make sense, but hopefully there is a very quick workaround for that in Darktable. So let's put my watermark here back on the bottom left corner of the image. What we can do for that is simply save this watermarking module as a style. So once again, style, I didn't touch it so much in my previous video. It may be actually one of the next video if you want to see that, guys, but it allows you here on the history panel that I already showed you on the previous video actually. You can create a style, and by creating a style you can basically just save the value of different module. So here what I will do is I will only save the watermarking module. So I will just save watermark here, and you see nothing else is selected. I need to put, of course, a name of that. Let's call it watermark demo. If I save it here, you see it's creating my style, and now that I've done that into the Darkroom module, I can just deactivate this watermarking here. I go back to Lighttable. You see there is no watermarking here on the small thumbnails. That is normal. What is good here is, let's say I want to do it for a client. So I already actually created a preset for a client, but I will show it to you right now. So my preset for a client, you see, as always in Darktable, you can save your preset by just here editing this preset, or create a new preset if you have modified the different parameters. For my client, what I do is I have the same structure, file folder here, the same export folder, but then I create a subfolder that is called client, and then I have a subfolder, a naming here that is just my file name, and then I append this watermark part just to secure that I know that it's watermark without opening it each time. Then I want to export it in JPEG for my client. I want here to use the scale, so I would just leave it at 50% of the quality, so I don't want to hand over full quality image to my client, at least not at the beginning. But I will save this 50% quality, and then I will apply the style here. So you see the style, I already created a style that is the same, but I can find back the style that I was showing you guys. There is even a small preview here. So I use the watermark demo here. One big thing to remember, guys, here is when you apply a style, you need to choose between two options here: append history or replace history. For watermarking, by default, you need to choose append history. What does it mean? When you append the history, it will add the watermarking module on top of the already stack of history that you have previously. So it will keep your edit of all your images and add this on top of the different modules. If you just click here on replace, it will kill all the other edit and just apply the watermarking. It can feel frustrating, and I've seen a lot of people complaining about that, because if you do not tick these type of things, you will end up with a wrong image, and you will just wonder why do you have this type of wrong image. So here, just really apply on append history, and then if I do the same thing, I just select everything, I just do start export, and then it will again go one by one. It will apply one by one the watermarking on each images, but it will not modify the image as such. It's just at the export that it adds that watermarking from a temporary point of view. So this is another export that you can do. And then, for example, for me, another preset that I created will be the archive part. So once again here for the archive, of course, I'm saving my raw file, but I may want to save a TIFF file with the edit in it. So normally you have the raw, you have the sidecar that is storing all your edit, but you want to have maybe a compressed one. And for those of you that I followed my previous video, you can also see that with Darktable, with the TIFF and the JPEG that you export from Darktable, there is already the history embedded into the file, so it can be also useful if at one point you lose one of them, you want to export the full TIFF file. Here I made a different archive structure, so I used again the parameters that I was speaking about before. So just to show it to you, I use the same export file. I have a subfolder that is called archive, and then I use the elements that are in the file itself, which is the year of the shooting, the month of the shooting, the day, and then I had a sequence that is a 3-digit sequence and start with the 1. This is again up to you guys how you want to parameter it. Then I use TIFF. Then here I have absolutely no scaling, so I have the full resolution file, and then I leave it as such there. What is very important right now, and for me the very last thing that you can understand is once you have set this type of presets here, so again, just to walk you once again through the preset part, you can just use here, edit this preset, or you can copy your preset. So let's say, for example, that I will do another archive in PNG, which doesn't make any sense, but still I will make it to you just for the sake of demonstration. So I store a new preset here, I name it here, for example, archive PNG. Do OK, and then you see that it saved another preset here, and you file your different presets on the bottom part of this export module. The beauty of it and how it will save time for you guys is once you have set up all those presets based on your parameters, on what you are committing with your client, for example, in terms of preview that we will share with them, in terms of how you want to archive things, you can store those different presets, and then you can do a batch export. So let's say, for example, here I'm on the archive PNG, but I also want to do the archive normal, and then I would like also to do the client, for example, or the web version. I can just select the different presets that I have and start batch export, and it will start everything from the different presets. So it will work on the different ones. So here you will see it will take time, but I will let it run through you guys in live, speaking through the video before we go back to the end of the video here. So you see it will continue to export one by one each and every file so that you have your file ready. Once again, here it's the exact moment when you export for archive, where you can go and grab a coffee, but for instance also you can go and watch one of my video waiting for that. But to wrap up this video, for me there is common mistakes to avoid here. The first thing is that sometimes you think that when you apply the watermarking, whenever you will export once again your image, it will be always a watermark. This is the really cool part, but also tricky part of this export with style. It's temporary. So when you apply the watermark, you need to secure that each time you want to apply the watermark, you apply the style on it with the watermark. This is, I think, fairly simple, but you need to keep that in mind. I think there is both good and bad things, but if you are not really sure about that, it's always good to remember these type of things. Then the second part for me is the upscaling that I would always let off. I think, again, with Darktable, there is a lot of beauty in that, but also there is one thing is that you need to learn a little bit about your resolution, your size, and so on, so that you know what you are doing and you do not let the software control it for you, but you control the software. So here, pay attention to this upscaling option here. Leave it always to no, except if you know that you need it in some very specific cases. Last but not least also is the profile here. So for example, let's say you want to do an export for a print, you want to do an export for the web. There is different profile to use it, so you need really to pay attention to those profiles. And I think that one of the most common mistake, or not mistake, but complaint that I see in the different forums is that your color are not looking okay when you look at them on your phone, or if you look at them on a print, and you are always wondering why. So this is something that you need really to keep in mind when you use this type of export. Once again, thank you for watching, guys. This tool is really here to do renaming, resizing, and putting it at the right place at once, so it should save you a lot of time here. If you have any comments, please let me know. Leave a comment below the video. Otherwise, please feel free to like, subscribe, and share this video. Thank you guys for watching, and do not forget that you can also download this cheat sheet for the different parameters of export, and I hope it will help you. See you soon, guys. Bye bye.